Hello! Welcome to another video in the series that I've been calling How to Make an Illustration Step by Step. Today I am going to show you how I go from my super rough sketchy sketch comps, which I showed you in the last video, to a more refined sketch that I'm going to then use later on for my painting. Alright guys, so before I flip the camera around and show you my iPad so you can see what I'm drawing, I just wanted to give you a little announcement, which is that on my Patreon I'm going to do a giveaway. I'm going to be giving away these little buttons. Cute, right? So it says Mermaids Are Real, it has my website on it, and it just has an illustration from the Mermaid Tales Fantastic project, and anyone can have these if they're a Patreon before the end of September 2018. You can be any level, $1 or higher, and of course if you sign up for the $5 level you get all those downloads that I've mentioned in the other video. So I hope that you like that because I'm excited to send these out. Okay, I think we'll just dive right in, and I'm going to start drawing on the comp sketch that I did last time that we picked, and we'll go from there. All right, here we are with our approved sketch. At this point, if you were doing work for a client, you would have a sketch approved by the client. They would probably have some changes for you that you might have to make. But in this case, since the client is me, we're going to go ahead and move forward with this drawing. And basically, all we have to do now is do a lot of refining to make sure that the story is reading, that the shapes look fabulous, that we've, I don't know, just figured out anything we need to figure out before we get to painting. So I'm going to put these on the same layer. Make that lighter. It's pretty much the same as what I was doing before, layer after layer, until we get what we want. This time though, we're going to be taking a little more time figuring things out, and hopefully you'll get a good view of how I try to finish up the sketch. I think today I'm going to just start at the top, work on his hat and face and him, and then we'll move over to the spinning wheel, and then we'll add some stuff to the background to help tell the story a little better. Since I picked this close-up view, there has to be a lot here in this like small area of him and the spinning wheel that tells the story. So I want to make sure that it's really obvious that this is gold and that gold is coming onto the spool right here, and that he has straw down here. I'm also going to be really thinking about his costume and the structure and the way the spinning wheel looks. So those are some of my goals for this, and yeah, we'll get started right up at the top. So I like these shapes. I like this negative shape and this negative shape. So I want to try to preserve that, but I'm going to go in and think about structure and shape. So one of the things that's bugging me about this hat is I think it's a little bit too small for his head. Back here, I'm guessing his head ends right in there somewhere. I do like this. Okay, in my concept drawing of him, I drew this, hopefully you can see that. This is a lot darker than the iPad. Drew this jewel and this feather over here on this side. Since I'm doing this illustration and it's facing the other way, and again, since I'm not doing more than one of these, I'm going to see if I can add something here and still keep a nice shape over here that helps tell that story. And the reason why I feel like that's important is because it's part of his opulence as a character, showing that he likes to look rich, or he is rich. In this case, I guess, look rich. That might be too close to the edge. We'll see, I might make some adjustments to it later, but for now, I'm gonna leave it. In this part of the stage, I'm not thinking as much about detail, not yet. I'm thinking more about getting clean lines and shapes, clear shapes. Okay, I think that hat is looking better. Now his face. His face is the most important part of this picture. It's definitely the focal point. Right in here, his face and hand with the straw. So whatever expression I decide that he's gonna have is gonna be really important. I definitely want him to look shifty-eyed, like those car salesman pictures that we looked at in the very first video. And I think he could have dark circles under there. I might add a little later. So maybe he's looking back. Thinking about trying to keep my shapes as simple as possible, because I can always add more detail later. I kind of like the asymmetricalness of the mustache, how this side is a little higher up, because it makes it look almost like he's kind of smirking. I'm trying to think how I can really make that work. Okay, I kind of like that. I'm going to flip the canvas to see how his face looks. It's not too bad. If you don't have an iPad or a computer that you're doing this on, you can easily look at your picture in a mirror to see how the face is turning out. Okay, I feel pretty good about that. So far, I think this is going along really well. It's possible that you might need to do a few more layers of stuff like this before you're really satisfied with what you have. Okay, I feel like that eye is still a little wonky, but I'm going to call it good for now, move on. It might come to me later on what's wrong, or it might not. Maybe it won't bug me later. We'll just see. We'll just see what happens. I'm not going to worry about it. I really like this shape, but I also kind of want this thing to stick out a little further. So we're going to try that and see what I get. Okay, at this point, I am going to look at my photo reference that I took of Mariah to see how her arm and hands work. I'm just gonna look for hands that I like the best. I think those ones are nice because I can see them both really clearly. I think we'll use that image. So these are hands that I drew out of my head. These hands are going to be way more fun. When I'm working from the photo reference, I'm still keeping in mind this drawing. I wanted him to have long fingers and be kind of pointy and spidery like and just very villainous. Obviously, she doesn't have hands like that. The other thing is it can be really easy to get overcomplicated when you're looking at photo reference because it takes in a lot of detail, but we're going to try to simplify where we can. I'm basically just thinking about straight lines, trying to get the basic shapes of the hand. I'm also looking at the negative shapes in her hand, in between her fingers. We're gonna go with that for now. There is a issue. You can see that this finger, since I made it longer and it's in that different position, it's now making a tangent with the spinning wheel. But we're gonna worry about that in a bit. Maybe we'll move the position of the hand slightly. Actually, I like that idea. Or you could always move the spinning wheel a little bit too. Since I do like that idea, I'm gonna go ahead and well, bam, problem solved. No tangents. If you don't know what I mean by tangent, go back and watch the composition video. Again, it was video 2 of this series. When I drew this before, I didn't have the photo reference and I couldn't figure out what to do with the other hand. So now I have that. So I'm going to draw the other hand in right here. And I'm just thinking everything, simplifying it into straight lines. And I am going to have issues with how the hand looks with the spinning wheel. I'm going to figure that out later. I think that's a good sort of starting point, but it's too small compared to that hand. Okay, a lot of that is going to get covered up by the spinning wheel. And again, we'll go in and refine that hand and make it look better later, but I just kind of want to make sure everything's working. So I can't remember if I said this or not, but this is the reason why it's nice to have photo reference, even though this isn't realistic at all. I got that idea from here, and I think both of these hands still need some work to be a little more stylized, look more like my original character design that I liked. But just the gesture and everything that I got from this is really helpful. And it's also going to be helpful to see how her legs hook into her body, even though again, like, he isn't realistic. His proportions and whatnot aren't realistic. So we can see the wrinkles in her pants and the way that they wrap around her legs. I'm going to use that information to get the flaps of the bottom of his vest or doublet or whatever it's called. Again, this isn't quite right yet, but I want to get the spinning wheel in there and see how it looks. So I'm going to do the spinning wheel on another layer so I can start adjusting things once it's ready. So for that, I'm going to pull up the spinning wheel reference, which I have on Pinterest. And I'm also going to go over to my drawings. I did all those drawings of spinning wheels, which should also be pretty helpful. And I think I said this before, but I liked this spindly one, so I kind of want to go for a sort of style that's kind of skinny like that. I have all of these too. a lot of this is me drawing how the spinning wheel works, which is important. So have that set up. And it helps to name your layers, so let me do that real fast. And I'm also moving it over because I said I was going to have issues with the hand, and if I do that, there will be some space. I still want to be able to put straw in here. So basically, so far in this level, I'm just kind of cleaning up the structure. Okay, now the pictures I've seen of the flyer, it is skinnier down at this end and kind of fatter over here. So I'm gonna fatten that up, but then it's also gonna get covered up. Structurally, I think that's working better, although I think maybe just this side needs to be a little bigger. I don't know. It definitely still needs work. But I know how it looks now. At this point, I have decided I think I'm going to shrink it all a teeny bit, just so I can get a little bit more of the spinning wheel over here and a little bit more of the feather up there. The next step is I think I'm going to go in and refine the spinning wheel, because I just have had so much trouble with that specifically till I feel like it's at the level where I feel like he is. And then there will be another refining step after that. So I'm going to work on the spinning wheel. I'll time lapse it for you and then come back and we'll go on to the next bit, or maybe I'll time lapse the whole thing. I'm not sure. guys, I just spent about, I don't know, a few hours working on the spinning wheel only, and the hardest part was definitely this. I feel like it is now to a spot where it's like structurally good and somewhat accurate to a spinning wheel. So let me show you the layers that I did. First, this is the layer that I left with, and I realized that I just really needed to work on my perspective structure. So I set up this layer, which is basically this spinning wheel, and just I went back and forth from this layer to the layer that I am now on, drawing in and moving things around and stuff like that, and till I got to this. So the next step is to have a lot more fun with it. All the hard part is kind of figured out, although something looks funky right there that I need to fix. But the spinning wheel, we want it to have a lot more character and interest than this, and we also want to, like I said, make his hands better. I'm also worried about this like space. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I know I want hay coming down, which might solve my problem right here, but just the hand is like awkwardly stuck in between the spinning wheel and I don't know, the legs look a little funky. So those are my next step goals. These things are like time consuming and just small details here and there. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that off screen, but I'll show you the time lapse and then come back again and show you some of the things that I changed and how I fixed some of the problems and how I improved some of the drawing. So I'll be back then. I feel like I've gotten into a point where I could go ahead and work on the painting stage now. Before I moved forward and called this done, I took the drawing to my critique group, which is just a group of friends that I meet with who are also artists, and had them look at it and tell me what they thought. And the main critique I got back from that was that this part, the wheel part of a spinning wheel, looked too small. They are right, and I'll show you. So this morning, as I was working on it, I went onto Pinterest or Google Image and found some more pictures of spinning wheels, and I think sure enough they're right. Like, the spinning wheel needs to be a little bit bigger. I don't want it to be like a huge spinning wheel like this one, but I do want it to feel good, and I also want Rumpelstiltskin to feel dwarf-like. So I'm looking at, like, this spinning wheel reaches that lady's shoulders while she's sitting down. This lady's a lot taller, but reaches her shoulders too. So looking at these images, I think that my friend that said that is right. Thank you, Shauna. So I'm gonna go ahead and make some adjustments to that before I call the sketch finished. Alright, so you saw me make that change. It didn't take very long. It was a pretty easy fix. Okay, moving forward, this sketch, we're going to call it good. There's probably still going to be some refining that we're going to do. I usually find some mistakes while I'm working on value and color studies. All right, guys, I hope that was helpful for you to watch me draw that drawing. Next time we're going to take it and do value and color studies so that we can then start painting after that. So tune in for the next video next week where I'll show you how I do those. And don't forget to go sign up for Patreon so you can get your own button before the end of September, which I know isn't very much time. So go do it. Go sign up. I hope to see you there. Thanks for watching again, and don't forget to like and subscribe and share this video with your illustrating friends if they would like it. Yep. Okay, bye.